that is really such an amazing direction that I see the industry going, is not just covering the risk, but preventing the loss. And so helping them protect their, you know, their business, their home, the actual lives of their employees.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, today we have with us Bryan Falchuk, founder and managing partner of Insurance Evolution Partners and author of the recently released The Future of Insurance, From Disruption to Evolution. So welcome, Bryan. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Amber.
So you talk about joining the industry in the early 2000s, and I joined in sort of the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But
so the internet was already there when you got there. It was just, it had just started coming in.
Yes. And there was just exactly this sense of like impending change, of like being in the center of a hurricane from like the second I started. Do you think that there's a sense of more calm now in the carrier space, that was like, okay, we've arrived, or we're close, or?
I think, I don't know if it's calm. I think what it is a little bit of recognizing capability and resiliency. And so a lot of the capabilities have changed, and the people have changed, and the structure's changed, and the tech is really different. Even for those who are on older tech, your older tech is still probably from the 2000s. So it's not like from the 1960s.
Yeah.
So pretty much across the board, the tech is post-internet. So you're inherently going to have a different kind of delivery built into it. But I think like what just happened with COVID-19, carriers who were thinking about work from home and remote solutions, suddenly, like one of the carriers in the book, they were talking about it being a late 2020 thing. They had work from home already, but to virtualize, and they did it in 5 days to be 100%. There's other carriers who had pulled back from it. They're like, you know what? No more work from home. We're all going to be in the office, and those are the tools. And then like overnight, you turn on a dime, and they did it. And so I'm always like, if you keep saying you can't, and then you do, at some point you have to give yourself credit for that and carry that credit into the next challenge, because you're clearly more capable than you said you were.
That's a great point. I know I've been in projects where the first day it's like, okay, so rule number one, anyone that says, well, we've always done it that way, or we used to, you're off the project. So it's all about changing the way of thinking. So on that note, I think a lot of what those legacy tech pieces left us with is like a legacy thinking, a legacy culture. So how do we change that?
There are 3 major takeaways from the book. What they all boil down to, though, it's about leadership mindset, and it's about humility. So the takeaways are about listening to your customers, like genuinely listening and believing them and doing something with what they say and involving them. The next is the same, but for your people. So really engaging your people and empowering them. And the last is about focus. Because it's really easy with all the new stuff that's out to be like, is it this one? Is it that? You get shiny object syndrome. But none of those pieces of advice matter if leadership is sitting there. And this includes like insurtechs who are judging insurance as being like stupid or slow or whatever, is like, if you've sworn off anyone but yourself as having the answers, really it doesn't matter what else we talk about, because you're not going to do it. So the first and most important, I just was saying to someone else, it's almost like the CEO needs to step down in their mind. Like, yeah, you can be the CEO, but you got to stop putting yourself as the most important person who ultimately has all the answers. That's what matters most, because you're not on the front lines. You're not hearing customers. You're not living with the frustrations of the process and the tools. And when someone tells you it, are you frustrated with them for bothering you with that information, or for being ungrateful for their job? Or are you hearing them and like, wow, that would be really annoying if I had to deal with that every single day. Like maybe there's a bit of insight in that. And the leaders who have that humility instead of hubris, they're the ones who, like, it's no coincidence that those are the companies that are in this book. It's the people who are like, okay, I'm not the source of the future of this company. All of you are within these walls and outside. So what do you have to tell me?
Yeah, because there's comfort in we've always done it that way. Because that way I know what happens at the end of that. It takes an open mind and humility to say, okay, there could be something better than that way. I don't know exactly what the outcome is going to be, but let's try it anyway. let's, stick our necks out and see what happens.
Yeah. I had someone at a carrier, I was a chief claims officer. We were in a summit, and he's like, some of these new tools, we can't just change because we have a tail in our business. We won't know if it was a good decision for like 3 years. And I was like, what's your combined ratio? 107. So why, like,
Might as well try.
it's not, well, yeah, and it's not like what you're doing now is working. So
Right.
you need to be willing to try some other things, and they could be wrong. And try doesn't mean change everything 100%. You can pilot, you can test, you can put measurements in place to see if you're on the right path. But what you're doing today either is no longer working, or it may soon no longer work because the people on the receiving end won't accept it anymore.
Right. Awesome. Well, congrats on your book.
Thank you.
Lots of great insights in there. And thanks for taking the time to chat today.
Thanks a lot, Amber.
Thanks.